starting the recording. Hey everyone, this is episode 441 of OotiniCast, being recorded on the 21st of June of 2022. And let me go ahead and get this going. I double check this is going to be the raw version of the show with any flubs and flaws still intact, and then we'll clean it up and put it out as a podcast tomorrow. The raw version of the show is being streamed on twitch.tv/OotiniCast, and we will also put the raw version up afterwards on YouTube. Let me go ahead and tweet this out, and we'll get going with the main part of the podcast here in just a sec.
Tweet. Tweet. All right, and let me get you are right there.
All right, boing. Here we go. It is tweeted out. Let's see if I can find it real quick on the other one. There we go.
I see it, and I am retweeting.
And as am I. Excellent. All right.
And I'm going to put it in my Discord.
Stream looks fine. And I've noticed that they've rechanged this again, so I think I can actually do the users in chat from the stream manager, which is nice. So I can actually,
cool.
Yeah, it's still the new weird version of the users in chat where it only shows, I think, people who've actually chatted, and it won't actually show anyone who's just lurking, I guess. All right. So, all right. If you're ready, Kitty, I'm ready.
Ready to go.
Okay, let me have a little water, and then we'll go in 5. Let me do one other thing real quick here, which is to minimize this. This window's too big, and it's blocking my chat. Why is this so big? All right, that looks better. Okay. Going in 5. I can hear my jaw go when I do that.
Careful.
Can you hear that?
No, I can't.
Okay, so it's one of those sounds that just gets transferred directly to your inner ear, so it's not really.
It's close too.
Hearable on the outside. Okay. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that knows what it feels like being a real Jedi. This is episode 441, being recorded on Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. I'm your host, Chill. With me is my co-host, KittyKissz. Hey, Kitty.
Hey, Chill. How you doing?
Doing great. And what have you been up to since the last show?
Well, I finally went on to test server this iteration that's live right now.
Yeah.
And my main purpose was just to kind of look around. And I checked out some of the new decos. There's some really cool new decos that are going to be available for the
Manon Daily area mostly.
Dailies. Yeah. So when your reputation gets up, you'll be able to get more and more of that stuff.
Are they all Manon themed,
really cool.
or some of them non-Manon themed, or a little of both?
Non-Manon theme? I like that. Non-Manon. They're pretty much, kind of all an aquatic type of thing.
Nice.
And there looks like there's some really cool decorations specifically for your Manon stronghold. If you
I I would hope that it would match really well with that stronghold.
Yeah, and there's some big ones too, which are really cool. I don't have the Manon stronghold. I never really got it, but now that these decorations are available, I'm actually kind of considering getting it. I mean, I think I can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of credits sloshing around in the game now, and you can definitely unlock them a lot easier nowadays.
Yeah,
because of that.
So I went and checked out some of the new armor sets, the new weapons, the new all the miscellaneous stuff. And there is one particular set that I'm really, really looking forward to, and it's kind of an homage of Episode 3 Anakin. It's kind of looks like he's got that black, his tunic,
the dark tunic that he wears.
Yeah, with the black and then the brown underneath it. It looks really, really cool. And I will be getting that. And of course, I tested dyes out on it and all that kind of stuff because that's that's Space Barbie. I gotta have
Right.
it.
Matt Berger in chat says, all I want for is a submersible vehicle to actually be submersible. Yeah, that would be great. We know that you can't really move in submersible because they just don't have swimming in the game, but I could see like them making a decoration specifically for the underwater parts of Manon, because there are hooks out in the water on the downstairs part.
And well, that's what a lot of those decos are. They're for those hooks specifically.
Are they? Okay, cool.
Which are really cool. There is one, Matt Berger, that is a submarine, but sadly, I don't think you can ride in it. I checked out the daily area, just kind of gave it a looky-loo, and of course, it looks gorgeous. And nice. I really like the. I know there's some people that don't really like weather effects in the game because it can really get your graphics card up in a tither, and it also it can distort the graphics a little bit. But I think it looks really good. I'm really stoked on it. And if anybody is on Test Center, make sure that when you go to the Manon area, you go through your Starship map, then go to Manon, and you're going to see the Manon itself, the planet, and it's going to have the regular Manon part, but there's a separate part that you go to for the dailies. So just be aware of that. That took me a little while to figure out.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, then they're doing it like the old Belsavis, where the Section X shows up on the galaxy map. When you zoom in on Belsavis, you can go directly to that area.
That is exactly right. Yeah. So be aware that it is not when you load into Manon, it's on its own little area. Kitty Treats and myself have been doing our dual stream, and we finally made characters that are based on our cats.
Are they Cathar, or is it just
Cathar? Okay. Yeah, we went Cathar.
Okay.
And they have been really fun.
Nice.
Because Nexu is my kitty cat is really into Kitty Treats' cat, Princess Moo Mao.
Mm-hmm.
And so my character is like really into Kitty Treats' character. It's just really fun.
Are you doing the same class story, or?
No, we're doing a separate one. She is doing Night, and I am doing Sage. Or wait, what is it again? Anyway,
so
I'm doing it.
Sage and a what night was it?
Sage and a Night, but I'm also for my secondary because I'm going to play her through as a healer, but I got bored and so I got Guardian. So
okay, as a secondary one,
that.
And now it's but now it's the kind of the primary one.
Yeah, it's kind of the primary.
That's
right
cool.
Now, but
tank or DPS or
DPS.
Okay,
and loving it. I'm playing the dot spec.
The dot spec. Okay.
Man, it is fun. Is that the smash spec? Is that what people call?
It might be. Okay. I can't remember. I can't remember.
It's really fun.
I think there's actually a different. I'm thinking the Marauder or Sentinel actually. So I can't remember. I'd have to think about it. I know that there is some dotting with the smash spec, but I can't remember if it's actually like the full on dot spec.
Yeah, it's really. It used to be my main, so I kind of got bored with it for playing with it for so long. But revisiting it after 7.0, I haven't done it since 7.0, and man, it is fun. I love that class. I was like, oh yeah, now I remember why I love this class so much. Right. We've been also Kitty Treats and myself have spent the majority of this weekend trying to get our capture card. We have a Razor Ripsaw capture card.
Right. Okay.
And we get the video on it, but we have spent around 6 hours, cumulative hours, her working on it and me working on it, trying to get the audio to work with it.
Oh, wow.
I can't figure it out. It's driving me crazy. So I thought I'd say, anybody out there that knows how to fix that, reach out to me. I would love you forever and a day. And of course, no, I'm not going to talk anything about it. No spoilers or anything, but I am very looking forward to Kenobi tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Me too.
I can't wait. And
it's kind of,
it's like an hour and a half.
Oh, that's good. I mean, because it's a fairly short series. I mean, this is episode 6 and it's wrapping up. So
yeah,
gosh, it's going away.
is gonna be great.
Yeah, I've been enjoying 1 through 5, and I do look forward to it. I think it's actually done a pretty good job of sort of ramping up as well. Like the first couple episodes, especially the first episode, was sort of like set up and a little background and that sort of thing. And the last couple of episodes have been pretty hard charging. So yeah,
just getting there.
Yeah,
but that's about it for me. Chill.
All right,
who all's in chat?
Well, let's find out. Let's see. According to the new version of Twitch, yeah, exactly. We've got Hey Dekion's here, Kitty Treats is here, Lord Meltza, Matt Berger, 1973, Petakill, Squishy Twitchy, and T1 Narrow 666 is here. I thought I saw someone else too, at least one other person, Manic Warrior. And so, all right. So yes, hello everyone. And let's see, get back to my notes here. What I've mostly been doing since the last show is getting my tank mains, because I usually get like a DPS main and then a tank main, just that way I can just sort of have end game gear on a couple different classes. If someone wants me to be a tank, someone wants me to be a DPS. Of course, nowadays, with combat styles, I could potentially get that down to just 2 characters, a Republic and an Empire character. But at least for now, I'm kind of keeping it the way it is, partly because I haven't found one where the tanks and then has a DPS that I want to have along with it, or even with the combat styles necessarily, although I guess I could do that too. So, well, we'll see. Anyway, so it's Lilu and Corbin Dallas, and they are working through their stories. I've been mostly working on Corbin the last couple of weeks, though. So Lilu is at the start of Kotfi. I've done her a little bit, but not much. Corbin I've been kind of pushing through on, and he's all the way through like Iokath and the Traitors Trilogy and Osis and the beginning of Onslaught. So he's now on to Mekshah. So he's getting up there. He's in story-wise. He's been 80 for a while, so no worries on that. But story-wise, he's actually finally getting semi-close to the end. There's a lot of story. Onslaught.
There's a lot of story.
Yeah, and Onslaught ended up being like really long. Like the main story is 3 planets, and they do take a while. The Corellia one is not as long, but it's, even that one does take a little while. But then they added a lot of story during Onslaught. They really did. So there's a lot of stuff to go through.
Lots of meetings.
And lots of meetings. Yeah, not even the fighting ones, but yeah, also like the meetings and the little speeches and interviews and stuff. Yeah. But they add to it. Those are definitely good flavor too. He has done, because he's done past Osis, he's done the little interview just with the little like news guy, that guy. But he hasn't done the other one where you give the little speech yet, I don't think. Although I think he's really close to it. Anyway, I've also been working a little bit on my pacifist dark side Jedi healer, Chill Crave. And I'm really liking her. She's not a cosplay. She's just a red Twi'lek that I've been enjoying. It's been nice, and like I said, pacifist, so all the damage goes through my companion. I've managed to do it without accidentally like breaking any explosive barrels or doing anything else that would actually do any damage to anyone. So I've been pretty happy to keep that pure. Although, I'm not. If I accidentally click on a barrel or something, I'm not going to like stop playing her just because of that. Actually,
character.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that hardcore sort of thing. I'm just doing it as sort of an internal rule to follow.
Right.
And I'm finding it very relaxing. I think I've mentioned this in the last show. It's very relaxing to just let the companion do the damage, and you just kind of heal them, and you kind of deal with threat, because it's like, okay, if I shield him, no worries. But then as soon as I do any real healing, anyone who hasn't been damaged yet is going to turn on me. And then you have to focus on shielding yourself, or whether you need a heal. But it's all very, very relaxed. It's very nice that way. And there's not much you can do to anyone, because even like the knockbacks and stuff like that all do damage. So I can interrupt them, and really that's about it. I guess I can. Yeah, eventually I could whirlwind them if I go that route. But I don't think I may or may not even take that. Although it is a possibility, because it doesn't do any damage. In fact, it heals them, potentially. in certain circumstances, it heals them. But anyway, I've been finding that I've had limited stream time mostly because I've been tired. I'm hoping this is just readjusting from the 9 hours of jet lag, and this does take a while. I understand for a lot of people, and maybe I'm just slower to readjust than other people are. But yeah, I'm hoping it's not like long COVID, because I did catch COVID during my trip or anything else, I'm hoping it's not that. I'm hoping it's just jet lag. We'll see. It does seem to be a little better the last couple of days, so I'm still crossing fingers for jet lag, but we'll see. But seriously, it has been limiting my stream time. Like, a lot of my streams have been quite short.
I could imagine.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm like exhausted.
Are you doing anything? Are you waking up earlier or going to bed earlier, later? What are you doing to prevent it?
I was, right when we got back, because of the weird change, I was going to bed quite early and getting up early. And that's not my normal habit. That's been slowly adjusting back to my normal time, which maybe is helping. Yeah. So maybe because I've been sort of slowly adjusting back to my normal sort of night owl-y type of hours, it's been helping. We'll see. I have, truth be told, it's not like I've had great sleep for it's been like a few years at least that I've had at least some sleep issues. So, anyway, I don't want to go any more into it than that. That's plenty of time to talk about that. But just to say that it has been sort of limiting my gaming and streaming time. I did do the duck hunt, though, this last Saturday. It was Imperial Side Rishi. It was pretty fun. A fairly small group this time, but tons of fun. I think everyone in it, everyone who did it this time was in the guild, for instance. So, it was a little limited in terms of, but still enough that you were not guaranteed for second or third. There's, enough people that you had to compete for sure. I ended up getting second in the duck hunt, which is rare for me because, I usually suck at it.
Streak.
I suck at the duck hunt.
Nice.
I usually am one of the very last. But yeah, I think it just helped that no one else happened to get there. He ended up hiding. It was in we were on Rishi, and it ended up being on the northern island. And of course, I didn't even start in the northern island. But, he narrowed it down to the northern island. Then I went over there, of course. It ended up being in sort of that big, wide open, lakey area that has a couple of critters there and some waterfalls all around. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's kind of right in the middle of the island, basically. And
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And there's enough, from a distance, it looks open, but there's enough sort of little rises and falls that you can definitely miss him if you're not if you don't actually go in there and check it out.
Right.
So I actually went down there and it's someone's here. And then I hovered out. Oh, it's it's the character I'm supposed to be looking for, and and there it was. So
nice.
So yeah, that was fun. And then we did the Utini 500. So in this one, we went to the very southern tip of the island, where that one taxi spot is that does not have a quick travel point next to it. It's the one that was originally meant for you to go to the island and then fight your way up towards the first the questing area.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we started right. We started there. We went west, all the way west, past the Revanite area.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then turned north and went into the northern Revanite stronghold area, and then turned south and went to the southeast taxi area, which is kind of near the questing area. So kind of almost a loop of the major parts of the island. And I was doing really well, but then I went up the wrong area, and then I jumped. Yeah, and I tried jumping off, and I forgot that if you're out far enough on there, it's an instant kill exhaustion zone. And
I know. Okay, I know where you are.
And of course, when you get instant killed by an exhaustion zone, you cannot res in place because there's no point. You'll just die again. So you have to res in the nearest nearest area, which is the southern part of the island.
Right.
So I had to go all the way from the southern part of the island to the correct part, and then back down again. Because I was actually ahead, and we were sort of in the Revanite stronghold, and then I made that error, and then I had to go, like I say, wake up, mount up, go all the way back to this northern part of the island, and come back again, and I got second. Yeah.
You got second?
I got second. Well, I've always been...
Did people get dismounted by NPCs?
Yes, there was a couple of reasons. One is that I don't know why, but I've always done well in the Utini 500. Like I'm usually a contestant for a first, second, third. I don't know why. It's fun. I find it fun. Maybe it's just because I do like so much leveling that I'm actually like mounting up a lot, where maybe other people are just doing war zones or other things that you don't mount up very much. And I usually do pretty well, and like I said, I was ahead at the time I made that horrible blunder. But yes, that was the other reason, is because I was fast enough getting back that the other people were and the stronghold is just lousy with enemies. And so they were all aggroing them with two effects. One is sometimes they're getting knocked off and therefore giving me lots of time to catch up with them. And the other thing was that they were aggroing them, so they just weren't there to aggro me for the most part. I think one or two did. Yeah, one or two groups managed to aggro on me in that whole stronghold area, but I didn't get knocked off. And then I just, did my thing and and I managed to catch up with everyone except, who was first? Oh, I'm sorry, Ducky, I forgot to write down who was first. But anyway, I got second, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And Pen's there. Hey, Pen. It was a ton of fun. It was a ton of fun.
It always is.
Yeah.
Sadly, we could make it.
And as usual, Ducky had like amazing stuff. Like, I think Deck got a whole set of 14. What do you call them? Like the little plugs for your augments. The MK11 kits. Ooh. And I got the Handmaiden's outfit, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then because I got second, I got to choose two things, and then the other one was it's the gravity tuning, the gravity. There's an extra word in there, but it's the gravity tuning, where like some rocks or bits of metal or whatever start twirling really around your weapon, one. And it's like I was like looking at that, and it's like, I'll bet you I can come up with a cosplay that around that, some sort of telekinesis cosplay or Magneto cosplay or something anyway, or just rock character themed cosplay or something. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. Cool. And so thank you, Ducky, and thanks to everyone who showed up. Tons of fun. And I had a ball. That was just this last Saturday. All right, and let's move on to the tip of the week. Excuse me, I just have a little mini tip this week. And I've talked about this before, but when you quick travel, if you go, not if you're traveling to somewhere else like the fleet, but if you're traveling from area to area within a map, and you're still going to be, you're not going to create a loading screen. When you finish the cast, there's a brief moment where you can start the cast of another thing and it won't interrupt it, so it'll keep going. And I've usually used that to give gifts. I just put a gift stack on my bar, and I know as soon as I finish my quick travel, I hit that, boom, and I'll get a little time because otherwise it's kind of wasted time, and this way at least you're doing something with that time. It's not a big deal, but it's I find it fun to create that little mini efficiency. It's something I've never tried before, and I was on my tank character, and I usually, because my tank doesn't do much damage and I don't need the healing, I put my companion on damage. But because of that, I do end up taking damage. And so I quick traveled, but then just for laughs, I just put on my little healing animation, which is usually an 8-second channel. So I kind of expected that when I moved, it would interrupt it. But it didn't. It actually didn't. It ticked. It ticked before I moved, and I expected that to be it. But then when it came back up, it's like, oh, it's still channeling. I'm still healing.
No way! It channeled the whole time.
It kept the channel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So not only will it finish a full cast of a gift if that's what you want to do, but you can also use it for your self heal ability if you want to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I consider it very minor. I mean, most people do play with their companion on heals, or they are a healer. So, but still, it's fun. So, and it's also something I didn't know. So there you go.
Right.
And Kitty, you have one as well.
I do. I just wanted to remind everyone that BioWare has been releasing the musical scores from SWTOR on their YouTube channel.
Yes.
And there's some great ones on there of some of the new stuff that they've released. So if you like that kind of thing, go there and check it out.
Right. And there's quite a few of them.
There's a lot of them, yeah.
There have been for, they've done this before, and a lot of the original ones, of course, are great as well. There's a lot of good ones in this one, though. I'm finding. I've been checking them out as they post them and notify us of them on Twitter. Right. And there's a lot of good ones. Several of the Manon ones have been good. There's one that they just posted that's called something like Tension Rising or something like that. It's a nice sort of action-y one that's really nice. So yeah. That's excellent too. Anyway, so if you have a tip of the week, please send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show for a chance to win a Tonfon or M83R Droid pit code, or now an M2B9 droid code courtesy of BioWare, plus a 450cc code as well. So we're doing that instead of the Ultimate Pack. We're just going to give a 450cc code because BioWare's been good enough to give us some of those as well.
Get those codes,
so
everybody.
Yep. So yeah, and of course the pack was worth 200. Well, this is worth 450. So there you go. So yet another reason to send in those tips. And like I say, we always say, send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com, and that is still like my preferred way. But if you DM OotiniCast on Twitter, I'm usually pretty good about picking those up and so on like that. So get them to us any way you like, really. That'll get us to the Mind Trap, and Kitty and I had sort of a funny conversation and ended up being turned into the Mind Trap. Which smuggler companion has the messiest room? Corso Riggs, Bodar, Gustuno, or Akavi Spar. And it's funny because, we were sort of debating whether to include Akavi or not, and you really wanted to include her. So we included her. I was okay with that. And she did. She came in fourth, though. So I was kind of happy. Personally, right. I was happy about that because I thought out of those four, I kind of feel like the military-born type person would have kind of one of the cleaner rooms. Although of course, if she has like tons of gear, then yeah, that could be messy. So the winner, kind of going away, was Gus Tuno, with 45.1% of the vote. My vote was for Corso Riggs, but he didn't even come in second. Bodar came in second with 25%, Corso Riggs with 22.3%, and then Akavi with just 7.6%. And we did have 368 total votes and a bunch of retweets, and I thank you for everyone who retweeted. We always appreciate that. And so I voted for Corso. I can't even tell you why. I just feel like his room would be messy. Like something about his personality, like the way he talks about objects and stuff like that, and has like little love affairs with his guns. Something about him makes me think he would have a messy room. I can't even put a pin on it. Is that the one you voted for, or who did you vote for?
I went all the way Gus.
You went with the winner, yeah. And I guess I can see that too. He have a
bunch of broken stuff around his room, like
right.
He has several different clocks that don't work. Broken faces, arms missing from them. Just
right.
Clothing just lying around.
I guess I can see it. He is sort of always pictured as sort of being, down on his luck, and I can see him like sort of hanging on to everything he owns just because he doesn't want to have to buy it again if he has any need for it at all, and it ends up collecting everywhere. I could see that totally.
Yeah. Plus, I just think being a Mon Calamari, I don't know if there's got to be like maybe putting
some issues
on that are wet in order to get that your skin
right. And how do they moisturize themselves properly and stuff like that. When he first comes onto the ship, he's asking you to turn up the humidity, basically.
But again, I just kept picturing a bunch of broken stuff all over the place. Like his bunk doesn't even, it's on the ground now. It's like a futon.
Wow, we really don't have much, a very high opinion of him, but I happen to love him. But yes, I totally agree with you. We had some funny answers. Like, even though we specified smuggler companion, Swotorisa said, I was looking for Cleo on that list. So who do you think, like, out of all companions, do you think Cleo would be right up there with messiest? I could potentially see that, I guess. I'm trying to think who else might be really messy. I could see Blizz having a really messy room.
Oh, it's Skadge. Skadge is the worst.
Oh, okay. So the bounty hunter has two of them.
Yeah,
Blizz and Skadge.
He would have like KFC, eaten KFC all over the place.
Right. There'd be like flies and
yeah, it would be bad.
It would be bad. Yeah,
it would be really bad. But yeah, you're right. Blizz would probably have a bunch of
tons of tools and bits of wire that he keeps around just in case he might ever need it again and all that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And probably like a scavenger with very little like direction. And like look at the inside of the Sandcrawler in episode 4. It's pretty tight and it's pretty messy.
Plus, Blizz. I think Blizz would have installed his own secret compartments. So I'm imagining, cutting, like a cutting torch, debris, or marks all over the place where it didn't work. And he's like, he's a DIY kind of.
Yeah. And I think the troopers' companions would have like certainly the average of the cleanest because they're all soldiers.
Yeah.
Even Tano Vic, although he's, very sort of criminally orientated, he doesn't strike me as necessarily a messy type. Mm-hmm. So I think pretty much all of them would have a pretty clean quarters.
Well, what about you? Who do you think would be the
very messiest? I'm still going for Blizz. I can't think of anyone else who would be messier. Yeah, I think it's got to be Blizz. Although I kind of agree with you, Skadge does seem like if you're going for smelliest, I'll bet you Skadge. Although I'll bet you some people would say Gus still.
Yeah. I don't think Gus would do it intentionally. Skadge would definitely be doing it to piss people off.
That too.
Like, doesn't care at all.
But there were some people who were saying when a Wookiee sheds or Wookiee hair and dander. So yeah, I guess I don't know how there. The thing is about hair and fur is like there are animals that shed and there are animals that don't shed, and I don't know which one a Wookiee is. I don't even remember hearing it ever kind of mentioned before. Have you ever heard anything canonically where like someone says, "Oh, there's Wookiee hair everywhere," or
it kind of makes sense, though. I could see it.
If they do shed, yes, absolutely. If they do shed, that brings it up a lot.
Well, I wonder what a Wookiee bed smells like. It's got to be just bad.
I don't. Maybe. Yep. And there we go. And one said, "Got to be Gus. The Wookiee looks well groomed." So it's true. I mean, maybe the Wookiee knows, how to take care of himself, even if he's like maybe he just has to like comb himself every day. Even if he's the kind that sheds, he just has to comb himself every day, and then he just take the big wad of hair out of the brush and throw it in the bin.
Right. A Wookiee would have to throw the brush away. It'd be unusable.
Oh, Kitty Treats had an idea. Treek. Yeah, well, she is one of the ones that actually shows up in the ship, so I guess we can include Treek. If you include Treek, I could see Treek being pretty messy.
I could see Treek being messy, but I don't know. For some reason, I think Treek wouldn't be that as messy, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think I just got Skadge on the brain right now.
Okay. Anyway, that was a really fun one, Kitty. So I'm glad you sort of steered us that way. That was a fun one. Yay! Yeah. And that'll get us to the Cantina Talk segment. This is a new segment and an occasional one where we pick out a voice actor from the literally hundreds who have voiced for SWTOR over the years. And previously we've talked about Tara Strong, Nika Fetterman, Don Maggio, Tom Wilson, Darren Norris, and Lacey Chabert. This time it's Kath Soucie. And I looked up how to pronounce her name. There are some people who claim it's Kath Soucie, but I found an interview where said we're talking to Kath Soucie today, and she didn't counterman that. So we're going to go with Kath Soucie. And in SWTOR, she's the voice of the female smuggler, and that's sort of like the main thing that she would be known for in SWTOR. She has that sort of nice... she actually puts on a gravelly voice, because not all of her voices, it turns out, are necessarily kind of gravelly. She does a really good job of changing her voice around, and you'll see that in a moment here. In SWTOR, though, but we'll continue with her SWTOR voices. She's done some uncredited extra voices that I have no way of tracking down, but some of the ones that have been named are Jedi Knight Mashalon in the Warrior story on Balmorra. She's trying to escape when the Warrior corners her in the spaceport. She was trying to get a report off-world, but Malavai Quinn lets her know that her broadcast was prevented, and then you fight her. Usually, I think you usually kill her, but you can also have her, like, captured, basically.
Yeah.
So, I think canonically she dies, at least according to Wikipedia. Then she's also Judah, who is the Twi'lek accountant for Nimrod the Hutt on Hutta, who you talk to a lot. Like, if you do the bounty hunter story, you're going to talk to her a lot on Hutta when you're doing the first planet. And then she also shows up again later on. The Great Hunt's data is compromised, and she points the way to the auction that the bounty hunter has to stop. As it turns out, she was also at least tangentially involved, and you have the option to kill her. I rarely kill her, though. I think I've killed her like once, but you can.
I think I've only killed her like once as well.
Yeah.
She's the only person that's nice to you.
Yeah, exactly. She's a pretty kind spirit.
Welcoming.
Yeah, exactly. So she's also done other Star Wars stuff in the past. So in Star Wars: The Bad Batch, and also in Clone Wars, in one episode, she plays a character named Jack Loquain, a human Twi'lek male youth. And she's also in Star Wars Rebels as several characters, Minister Maketh Tua and Mira Bridger, as well as additional voices. Mr. Maketh Tua was an Imperial minister tasked with hunting down the rebels. Things went badly for her, so she attempted to flee with the rebels, to the rebels, and then with the rebels, but then she was killed when her transport exploded. The Empire then used the footage of the explosion to implicate the rebels in her death. And then she's also Mira Bridger, who is a rebel against the Empire in her own right, but is probably best known as Ezra Bridger's mother. And she was killed by the Empire. So, so she's had some pretty juicy Star Wars roles. And then in Clone Wars, she was also Mon Mothma, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Mon Mothma.
Yeah, I know.
Great. I don't know what it is about her. She's just like, all right, Mon Mothma's all okie dokie.
Yep. In KOTOR 2, she was handmaiden sister, mercenary captain, Nada, TSF officer, and waitress. I wasn't able to find a whole lot more on those roles, really, to narrow it down. But if you've played KOTOR 2, you've definitely heard her voice several times. Her earliest Star Wars role was in Star Wars Battlegrounds back in 2001 as Hanoon Leader. And then her career in general goes back to 1979. She started as an on-screen actor for a couple of things, but then she started voice acting pretty early on. In 1983, she was in Alvin and the Chipmunks. So pretty well known. I mean, I don't think that was the first time Alvin and the Chipmunks had been around, because they had some songs and stuff back in like I think it was the late 50s or early 60s. So that they were around as characters, but they made like a TV show in the early 80s. She was in that. And she's had a lot of stuff since then. I'm skipping a lot of series, even well-known ones, where she had like only minor one-off sort of things. But she did the English version of My Neighbor Totoro. She was Janine in both The Real Ghostbusters and Slimer. She was in Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm, although sadly only credited as additional voices. In Tiny Toon Adventures, she was Little Sneezer and Fifi LaFume. She was Princess Sally Acorn in Sonic the Hedgehog. She was various characters in 23 episodes of The Critic, which is an underloved series that I happen to enjoy a lot.
Yeah, I love The Critic.
Yeah, so funny. The Weird Sisters and Gargoyles. And she had minor roles in both Ice Age and Lilo and Stitch. She was the mom in Dexter's Laboratory, so she was in a lot of those episodes. She was Miriam Pataki and Marilyn Berman in Hey Arnold. She was Lil DeVille, Phil DeVille, and Betty DeVille in Rugrats, again in a lot of episodes. Maddie Fenton and Danny Phantom. She was also in World of Warcraft, the one that she actually got named for it was in Wrath of the Lich King. She was Brigitte Abendis, Cyanagosa, and the Maiden of Grief. She was also in Futurama. The main character that is sort of recognizable is Hubert Farnsworth, who is Professor Farnsworth's cloned son, son, the one with the pug nose, because he got cloned in too small of a tank and his nose got squished. Yeah. At least that's how they explained it. So yeah, Hubert Farnsworth, that's also the female smuggler. She was also young Nick in Zootopia. So when there was a flashback in Zootopia and you saw young Nick being sort of bullied by the other young, basically scouts, that was her. And to bury the lead for some people, I'm sure, she was Lola Bunny in Space Jam. So there you go. Pretty famous role there.
Prolific.
Yeah, and like I said, I skipped a lot of stuff where it was just kind of like where it was like one-off or whatever, but she's been in a lot of other things, including pretty famous shows, just, but I didn't want to include necessarily everything. So yeah, so that was pretty cool. So congratulations to Kath Soucie. Thank you for being in SWTOR, and wow, what a career she's had.
Yeah, good for her.
All right, that'll bring us to the Holo feed, and in June 9th, 7.0.2b went live. We discussed that in the last show. It was a fairly minor patch, but there has been PTSs since the last show, most at which you've mentioned that you've been looking at. So the Manon Daily area is on the PTS, R4 anomaly operation as well. And then they just did, like the other day, like they let us know that yet another version of it has come out. So
right,
they're still working on the next version, so that's cool. And then let's see, there's a few other ones here. Let's see. We're going to skip that one. Crashing randomly. There was a couple of notifications of people having random crashing issues, and so Jackie Coe said that if you're still having that issue, they're investigating it as a bug and try to give them the most information you can. If there's usually a crash.dmp and crash.json files that you can find, and it's in the show notes. And that would, if you do experience sort of random crashes, then if you can send those to them, support@swotor.com. That's what they're looking for at this point.
Yeah, I've had several crashes. It seems like every time I play, I crash at least once.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it happened not recently though. Like, I'm not experiencing crashes right now more than usual, but back, not when seasons happened, but when they started doing like the daily login, which was shortly before seasons, they started doing daily login benefits. I started to get crashes in that patch, and I don't know if it's related to the daily login or not. It just, that's when it happened. And ever since then, I either get a crash or I get this weird like hiccup, and I've talked about it before, where my mouse, my cursor kind of hiccups around for a little while, and then it clears, and it plays completely normally. And if that happens, I call it now the happy hiccup. If the happy hiccup happens, then I know I'm good, and I'm not gonna have that weird crash. But if it doesn't happen, then eventually it will crash, and I just don't know when. Sometimes it happens right away, and sometimes I can go as long as like 20 minutes before it decides to just go, and then it just stops.
I'm going to call it the happy hiccup now too. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I know they know about it because it's been mentioned before. There is I wanted to mention this one just because it seems to be a bug that's sort of causing crashes also. This just is if you're in the outfitter, if you happen to be using the fractured Ashla lightsabers, and if you use two of them, like if you're dual wielding them in the outfitter, then it has been crashing the game for some people. So just be careful of that one. If you happen to be using that particular lightsaber,
interesting,
be aware that might be causing an issue. All right, Galactic Seasons final weeks of season 2. Yeah, there's basically 2 weeks left is what's going on. We've already mentioned this one as well before, but yeah, I just confirmed the other day. Yeah, it's 14 days. It was 14 days, so it's probably like 13. It probably shows 13 now, but anyway, yeah. So ends on July 5th. So if you haven't gotten to 100, or if there's something you want to stretch for, you still got a little time to figure that out. And I'm still doing the login thing. I'm still doing the login thing on the different servers. In fact, even though I was gone for a while, now that I'm back, I've been back in it, and next week I'll be able to get one more level that'll get me 200 more cartel coins on each of the servers. Well, at least several of the servers that I don't actively have characters on. And then also, it's also the one that has like the whatever it's called, the ancient like weapon pack. And so what I'll do is, even though that's on another server, I'm going to take that, open it up, and if it's something I want to unlock for the whole account, I'll unlock it on that character, and that way I can eventually unlock it for the whole account, or I can unlock it right away if I want to. Because if you unlock in collections, it's for the whole account. So even though this is, Darth Malgus or another, like one of the European servers, anything like that, doesn't matter. Unlock it on a character there, you can unlock it for the whole account using cartel coins, and it unlocks for everywhere. So, so I'm looking forward to trying that and see if I get anything cool.
Yeah, I've done that before when I'm looking to get the best price on something. I'll go to different servers on the GTN and see which one is cheaper. Then I'll just unlock it on that character, and I can unlock it.
And unlock it for the whole account.
Yeah,
that's smart.
For my entire account.
I haven't really done that before, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I really only have 2 characters that I have, or 2 servers that I have enough credits to even try that on. But that's a heck of a tip as far as I'm concerned. Because
tip of the week.
I never think to swap over, but I should. I really should. Like if I'm making a new character and it's like, okay, I need this one for a cosplay. Oh, but it's 500 million credits. It's like, I can't do that. So
500 million credits.
I know sometimes it is.
Could you imagine? I know. Could you imagine telling yourself when the game started?
Yeah.
Stuff's going to be 500 million credits. You're like, no way.
And the only reason it can't be more is because you can't actually make the GTN go any higher than 1 billion credits. It's a little insane. Yeah. I'm hoping that that it'll at least even out or even draw back in, but it doesn't seem to be happening very fast, unfortunately. On the plus side, though, anything that costs credits is like, I don't care. It's like, okay, make a new character, just unlock everything with credits, and we're good to go. It's like, because it used to be, it's like the gift giving one. It's like, if it wasn't a character that I was really interested in having, I wouldn't necessarily give him the gift giving speed one now, because that was like it adds up to like something like 1.8 million or something like that. It's crazy. Or even if it's 1.2, whatever it is. So it's over 1 million for sure. Now it's like, okay, click. It's like, who cares? Because I got lots of credits sloshing around. It's a little insane. But
when I would make characters, I would always give them a certain amount of money, to start off.
Yes.
And then I would keep tab of how much money they use, so that I could return that back into the main lump sum. And when I make a character, I give them 100 million right off the bat, just there.
Wow. When I took Corbin Dallas through what I call the Trader's Trilogy of Flashpoints, you tend to get some deco drops, and I happen to get some that right now are pretty valuable on the GTN, and he went from having like 5 million to having like 300 million in his. It was insane. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you got 1 million? How stoked you were?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, I got it, and it gives you isn't there a title you get for it?
Yes, right. Like the first, I think it's the first time you get 100,000, and then the first time there's 1 million. I think there's one higher one as well. I can't remember which one it is. 10 million.
It's 10 million. Yeah.
But it's been a long time.
I'm never going to be able to get 1 million credits.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so young and naive then.
Yeah. Matt Berger apparently starts his characters off with nothing. They have to earn every last credit. Sometimes I advance for spirit or piloting and stuff. 1 million and 10 million. Yeah, for those for those achievements. Yeah. That's actually somewhat that could be like a challenge you could do, is like, okay, make a character, but you maybe do it on another server where you don't normally play or something, but just don't start them off with any credits and just sort of see how much more difficult it is. Oh, it's a pain though, because you won't be doing any speeder piloting till level 10, and because there's just no way you're gonna even anyway.
Yeah, I'm not. I unlocked all that stuff via cartel coins, so it's just like it's there.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, and like I said, they did make it so that the it's like a new phase of the PTS has been pushed live. This was basically to this morning. Veteran mode for Lady Dominique is now available for testing. That seems to be sort of the main thing.
Right.
Yeah, right. And then they ask that you provide feedback on your experience, and don't forget to indicate that if you're playing story or veteran mode. Please also make sure you read through the known issues and changelog before testing things out on the PTS. Jackie says, I've noted new and updated messaging accordingly. All right. And yeah, so not tons of news this time, so I think we're pretty good there. Do you have anything else, Kitty?
Nope. I can't think of anything else. Chill.
All right, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our
OTD Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly, Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific, by streaming at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room.
Thank you, chat.
And we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
All right. And let's go ahead and see who we can maybe do a raid here for. See who's streaming. Oh, Zamzam. Zamzam's streaming. Let's raid Zamzam. Looks like she's usually in PvP, and the little preview does seem to be looks like a Hutball match. So yes, I'm guessing she's doing PvP right now. And let's go say hi. All right. Let me go ahead and say hi to Zamzam, and then we'll stop the thing in a sec. Okay. Okay, stopping the stream, stopping